Coming up on Mountain News this morning, the search is on in Ashland for a shooter after a man was shot in the head.
And in Laurel County, the sheriff's office is asking for help to find a man who robbed a London gas station at gunpoint, taking all the money they had.
Plus, the reward for information is growing as Floyd County deputies look for whoever shot and killed more than a dozen horses.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. The time is 5:32 on December 20th. I'm Madison Pergram.
And I'm Will Puckett. Thank you for tuning in to Mountain News This Morning on this Friday.
Well, so it is Friday. We're here almost to the weekend. I mean, you say your Christmas shopping's done.
Yep, all done. Got one present in the mail, should be here today.
Okay, so Christmas shopping's done, decorations are up. Let's go to Brandon Robinson. I know his decorations have been up for weeks.
Come on now, that's amateur moves, just now putting your decorations up. But yeah, I do have, unfortunately, 2 Christmas presents that aren't going to make it in time, even though I ordered them well before the shipping deadlines, specialty products. So there you go. All right, let's take a look and see what's going on this morning. As you head out the door, we see on the cameras, Buffalo Mountain, pretty quiet. Heading to the first part of this Friday, it's 5:30 and it's cold this morning. 30 right now in Jackson, 32 in Wise, 18 on the other side of the spectrum there in Monticello, 20 in Ashland, 22 Middlesboro, 23 London, 24 Hazard, and a pair of 29s in Prestonsburg and Pikeville. A few degrees warmer than it was this time yesterday morning, except for Middlesboro, 1 degree colder than it was 24 hours ago. Your day planner for today takes us up into the 40s, maybe even 50 for a daytime high. We see a few clouds coming to the mix later this afternoon, but for the most part, a fairly dry weekend ahead. And then that extends into next week as well. The rest of that forecast in just a little bit. Madison.
Thank you, Brandon. Well, a woman and child are in the hospital after being hit by a car in Whitley County last night. We were told the woman and her grandchild were walking out of Williamsburg store when she fell in the crosswalk. A car hit both of them, and we are told the injuries, while serious, are not considered life-threatening. The driver is not facing charges as of now. Dispatch says it appears to have been an accident. The two were flown to a hospital.
The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation says they identified the man they believe to be responsible for a 30-year-old murder. Investigators say Jerry Johns is suspected of killing Tina Farmer. They began looking into him during a murder investigation in Knox County, Tennessee. Investigators said DNA evidence connected Johns to the crime. He died in prison. TBI says they are still investigating the possibility that Johns was connected to a string of killings known as the Redhead murders.
And the search is on in Ashland for a shooter. They found a man around midnight at a Boyd County home shot in the head. Now that man is at the Cobble Huntington Hospital with life-threatening injuries. This video is of the home where the shooting happened, and police say they do have a description of the shooter, but no arrests have been made.
Well, over to Laurel County now, where the sheriff's office is asking for help to find a man who robbed a London gas station at gunpoint, taking all the money they had. The robbery happened at 2:30 Thursday morning.
And WYMT's Emily Bennett met the neighbors who say this is the last thing they expected.
Rebecca Williams was scrolling through Facebook Thursday morning when she saw news of the robbery.
I was in shock that it would hit so close to the pharmacy.
Around 2:30 a.m., a man walked into Spur Oil in London and held the clerk at gunpoint, demanding money.
I couldn't even imagine what would have went through her head, like, thinking that he was going to be shot over money, And here it is, the holidays coming up.
Gilbert Achardo from the Laurel County Sheriff's Office said it seemed he had scouted out the store knowing they had security cameras.
We have just a very scant description of him. He had a hoodie on, he had a hat on, he had gloves on. He was completely trying to conceal his identity.
Saying it is scary for this to happen in this community.
We just don't have the armed robberies here. They're very infrequent.
Williams says this stretch of road is just hometown people willing to help anyone.
The owners at Spur Oil would have helped. Like, all they had to do was ask for help, and we would have been more than willing to help someone. They didn't have to act out on that.
Knowing the pharmacy could be a target.
It does run through our mind several times a day, actually.
Wanting people to know they are always prepared for a theft.
Now that was WYMT's Emily Bennett, and officials are confident they will find the man. They have several leads they are chasing, but ask you to contact them at 606-864-6600 if you have any information.
Former Governor Matt Bevin is facing new criticism this morning after documents reveal he pardoned a Laurel County sex offender. This man, Charles Phelps, submitted a petition that was only 8 pages long. Phelps pleaded guilty in 2013 to child porn charges and tampering with a witness. He was also involved in other cases involving sexual contact with 2 minors. Phelps' petition contained no court documents. This is the last page. It says, quote, Mr. Phelps is the brother of twins who retired from the KSP. This entire family supported Governor Bevin staunchly, unquote. Phelps will now be removed from the Kentucky Sex Offender Registry.
And meanwhile, the pardon controversies continue in western Kentucky. The Louisville Courier-Journal reports that former Governor Bevin freed a convicted child rapist because he did not believe there was enough evidence. Bevin said the victim did not have a specific type of damage to her genitals. The paper interviewed the Commonwealth's former medical examiner, who said the governor has no idea what he's talking about. The specific damage Bevin cited only occurs in 2.1% of child rape cases, according to a forensic science journal.
A Louisville police officer is in hot water after a woman says he forcibly kissed her during a traffic stop 2 years ago. Officer Richard Barron is now fighting through the merit board to get his job back. He says he misread the situation when she asked for a hug to thank him and thought she wanted to kiss him. The woman, who we are not publicly identifying, then went to police that same day to report the officer.
And the search is on for an inmate that escaped in Powell County. 27-year-old John Bigsby went on the run Wednesday afternoon. Here is his picture. Take a close look. Kentucky State Police say he escaped while on a work release at a transfer station in Clay County. Bigsby was last seen wearing an orange jumpsuit, and troopers believe he is driving a stolen red car. If you see Bigsby, call 911 immediately.
Well, the reward is growing as Floyd County deputies look for whoever shot and killed more than a dozen horses. It is now at $15,000. The sheriff's office says the disturbing crime brought in donations from around the country. Deputies think someone hunted the horses at a strip mine and shot them with a low-caliber rifle. One horse in that herd is now being cared for in Shelby County.
We have seen very just overt cruelty to animals so many times. It gets exhausting. This is probably one of the most horrific things that I have seen in my career.
The Kentucky Humane Society is urging people to donate to the reward fund to encourage someone to speak up about what happened.
And Good Samaritans stopped to help a wreck victim, only to become victims of a bizarre crime. Police in Lincoln County say a crash victim stole the car of the people who stopped to help him, then drove that car with one of them inside to Berea. The man who stopped to help was hanging onto his car while police say Raymond McCollum drove off. About 2 hours later, the car was spotted in Berea after McCollum threw the woman the keys to the car and went inside a restaurant.
The wife that was inside the vehicle, she fought with him, trying to get him out of the vehicle. The elderly man attempted to get into the vehicle and stop the subject from taking off, and he was drugged down the road.
McCollum remains in jail facing serious charges of kidnapping, robbery, and theft. He was found inside that restaurant eating chicken.
Well, hundreds of people around Mount Sterling are asking for answers after a popular pawn shop was raided, leaving behind many pawned items they had given for a loan.
The items were not seized, and the owners are now in jail, leaving nobody to operate the store.
Nick Oliver spoke to deputies about what's next.
I had no idea that they was into all that.
The news of a massive gun, stolen property, and drug bust inside Layton's Pawn is still making its way around the Mount Sterling community. Law enforcement saying the actions of owner Scott Hardy and his sister Beth Willis created a direct pipeline for drugs to travel all through the county.
If you're going to do business the right way.
With the shop now closed, many are hoping they can be reunited with their stolen property, like this handgun only issued to veterans during Operation Enduring Freedom. They are still looking for its owner.
And we're taking information as fast as we can.
For others, their property is still inside that pawn shop.
Very frustrating.
Yul Cassidy pawned his $700 radio for a loan to purchase Christmas gifts, planning to later pay it back.
Since they shut it down, there's no way of actually how are people supposed to get their stuff back.
At the end of the day, officials say this whole situation is unfortunate, but they aren't a pawn shop, and anybody that has pawned goods now simply has to wait. Deputies say they have spoken to other employees outside of the owners, who are now in jail. They tell officials they are working on a resolution. Officers only seized what was illegal. In Mount Sterling, Nick Oliver, WYMT Mountain News.
Deputies are encouraging anyone who may believe their stolen items may have been recovered to contact Mount Sterling Police with details of what was stolen. As for the store, nobody knows when or if it will reopen.
And coming up, we will take a look at the world of cinema, where movie theaters were busy last night as fans flooded in to see Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker.
The forecast continues its dry and warmer trend as we head toward Christmas. How long will it last? I'll have the answer in about 3 minutes.